Let's talk about Elon Musk, clearly one of the most influential living humans right now. A lot has been said about Elon Musk, whether he is good for humanity, whether he's on the side of humanity, or whether he's an agent for the Matrix, but one who's just really disguising his work really well in some ways. And the astrology can tell us much more about this soul, the soul that inhabits this person, and the real intentions that he has, as well as his importance on the global cosmic stage. So that's why in this video, we're going to look at Elon Musk's astrology. All right, so everybody knows Elon Musk. I don't need to give you a big introduction. I don't need to tell you who he is or what he's done or the many companies that he's built, which is somehow historically really a unique feat. I don't think we had that before, somebody coming and building all of these really original and really unique companies in many ways, and having that big impact on the development of humanity, being at the forefront of technological innovation, and also in many ways on social questions, on so many of our social questions today, on questions of the involvement of the community, what we can say, what we can do, how we interact with each other, how we interact with states. All of that is mediated by technology in our hyper technological age, which is why in our age, somebody who's at the forefront of determining how the technologies work, how AI works, how social platforms work, how transportation works, how robots work, all of that, he's going to be somebody who really becomes an extremely influential person, who has the fate of humanity in his hands somehow, right? And, he talks himself about having these big, visions of wanting to make AI benevolent and accessible and open for all, and, wanting to make humanity a multi-planetary species, and, being there for freedom, being an absolutist on freedom and freedom of expression. And that's why he bought, X or Twitter at that time, and Twitter. And so all of that makes it sound like, gives Elon Musk this veneer or this appearance of the humanitarian, of the revolutionary humanitarian has put all of his life into the service of taking humanity to the next level and to the next, to a better place. But while that's the case, and while that's really appreciated and seen by a lot of people, at the same time, he's also, you could say in some ways, many people say he's also really, in reality, contributing to establishing a system of control for the elites. So, he's working on the brain chips, the Neuralink, basically, which will directly connect your brain to the control system, right? Some people say he's built this network on, he's gotten X, made it free, but then, he's given the authentication system to very suspect and suspicious parties, like former Secret Service agents, agencies, and so on, who now have control over all the data on X. And he's done a lot of other things like this, where people are thinking, okay, what are you doing? Is he actually part of the globalists who are trying to take control and control people? Or is he really on the side of humanity? Is he really on the side of the liberation of humanity from the control, from under the yoke and the control? So all of these views exist, but in order to really get a good, grounded view on what's happening, we should look at the astrology. Why? Because the astrology, it shows you the intentions of the soul upon incarnation, right? It shows you what were the original intentions of the soul, right? The soul which has, many incarnations before, and which before deciding to incarnate, before, finding its coordinates, its cosmic coordinates, it really is adjusted and fine-tuned to a place in the matrix, in the cosmic matrix rather, right? Which fits its current intentions. And this is what you can see in the chart, right? So you can see that in the chart. So when we look at the chart and we we do have a exact chart, so we know that it's, this is the exact time and the place and so on, right? It's not just a where we have no known time. This chart should tell us a lot. It should tell us a lot about his intentions, about the intentions of his soul, right? Like kind of the big intentions, not his momentary intentions, but his big intentions. What did he come for? Why did he come, right? What does he want to do? What's his big game, right? What's his big kind of purpose? So let's look at the chart. When we look at the chart, we can see obviously, right? So we can see obviously somebody who is going to be an innovator. That's very clear, right? This is like the 101, the easy kind of things to read, right? I'm just going to do that as well, just to show you, still the basics. It's nothing wrong with basics. Basics are good too. You need to know the basics before you can do the harder stuff, right? So the basics, let's do those. We've got the sun, right? You've got the sun in 12, so you're going to be an introvert, right? Somebody who's like very closed in some ways, right? Who is, whose feelings, inner essence is a little bit kept for himself. But then at the same time, you got the Mercury on the ascendant. So this is going to be a super talkative introvert. He's an introvert, but he's super talkative, right? He's kind of like, he keeps talking about himself and his ideas the whole time, right? And then this sun is in a square with Uranus, right? This is not surprising. Obviously, the Uranus Sun constellation is always, you have that with people who are innovators and unconventional and rebels and right and going to be different and very unorthodox ways and so on, right? This is the inventor and innovator constellation. Sun Uranus, a little bit troubling and troublesome too. Obviously, like, if you just look at this, you're going to say, okay, he's an introvert, he's very unconventional, innovative, he talks a lot, he talks about his feelings oddly, even though he's an introvert because of Cancer Mercury on the ascendant, right? But is this going to tell you whether the guy will be one of the richest people in the world? No. Is this going to tell you whether the guy is going to invent these massive companies? No, not at all, right? Nothing, right? Nothing. This could be just your regular dude who doesn't like to work at the office, who hates 9-to-5 jobs and just is a bit weird, That's all you could read as well from this, right? So how do I get from there, from what I just shared with you, from these basics, how do I get from that to, okay, this is Elon Musk, right? Only through fixed stars and asteroids. Keep repeating this all the time, but at some point we're gonna all learn, right? So only through fixed stars and asteroids. So what do we have here in terms of fixed stars and asteroids? First of all, we've got the sun here. You can see this. Actually here, the Mercury, right? The Mercury is on the fixed star Sirius. So Sirius is very serious. Sirius gives things a cosmic importance. It's one of the royal fixed stars, and it makes you a cosmic messenger. A cosmic messenger, a divine messenger, if you will, if you're using it for the right purposes, right? If somebody's using it for bad purposes, it's not going to be divine messenger, but you get the picture. So a cosmic messenger, right, of very importance, right, with his mission, with his commercial mission, right? His commercial mission, Mercury, is directly on Sirius, and it's on Rockefeller, right? So, and it's on Gutenberg. You see, Gutenberg is here as well. So Gutenberg actually, is about printing, right? The printing and messaging and writing. So it's actually written here in the chart that he's going to own X, Twitter, right? Because he's made to have this printing, basically this information production entity, right? Information production. So you see here, we've got Sirius with Rockefeller and Mercury. So this is already much, much more. This tells you that we've got a cosmically ordained commercial idea or idea generator who is meant to become the Rockefeller of his time, right? And this Uranus here, which is the innovator, right? The innovator that is square the sun, is with the asteroid Carnegie. Carnegie was another great, big American industrialist. So the innovator who is a industrial tycoon and an industrial magnate, right, is here as well. So now, okay, now I can see that we're talking about someone, and now, now I can see what we're talking about. And now, what else we got? Very interestingly, on his midheaven, on his MC, you've got the asteroid Tesla. You see here? Tesla. Tesla is exactly on his midheaven. So he's meant to do Tesla. He's meant to be known for Tesla. Tesla will be his chef d'oeuvre. It will be here his most famous. It will be what he will be known for when it's all said and done. It's right, much more so probably than SpaceX and everything else. He'll be known for Tesla, right? He'll be known for whatever it is that he's going to do with Tesla still in future. And now, okay, what else we got? But what we really wanted to know is, obviously, okay, there's other things too. There's still other things. He's got this Jupiter, Neptune, which is like the being plugged into these super high ideas, right? Not high in terms of stoned, but high in terms of like being plugged into the highest level of, avataric ideas, archetypal ideas, right? That are basically directly downloaded from the 5D matrix, from the 5D cosmic network, right? And so he's plugged into those ideas. He downloads those ideas, and they're in his creativity. He gets those crazy ideas, which are basically, from the higher intelligences and hierarchies sent to him, right? About making humanity a multiplanetary species, or changing the entire transportation system of Earth, or boring some holes into Earth, whatever it is that he's doing with the boring company. So all of those things, right? And this is in opposition to Saturn. So Saturn is in 11, right? He's going to face a lot of opposition for what he's doing, right? But he also has these kind of very serious and powerful friends, right? But he faces a lot of opposition as well, and this opposition is going to make him, it's going to mark him in many ways, right? So this is more still on the personal side and on the development side and so on. But what we want to know is, what we started with is, on whose side is he, right? What is he doing this for? Who is he doing this for? And fortunately for all of us, I can say, we have some very good signs here. Okay, we have on the one hand, his Jupiter, Neptune is with the asteroid Gottesman, the man of God, right? The man of God. While on the other hand, this Saturn, the Saturn that I mentioned, right? It's with the asteroid Acristo, Antichrist, and Angel. Okay, so we see here Gottesman with the Jupiter, and Acristo and Angel here. Okay, and then his sun is with Wang Christie. It's another asteroid that stands for Christ, or the ideas of Christ, or the energy of Christ. And his Mercury and ascendant is also with the asteroid Christen. Christ. It's basically another asteroid that stands for the ideas of Christ. Okay, you can't see this here right now. I think I have to take my picture away a little bit for you so you can see this, but I shall do that. And now you can see it better. So look at this. Okay, so you can see this all now, right? Van Christie, Angel, and so you see here, Angel and Acristo with Saturn in opposition to Gottesman, right? And we got Wang Christie on the sun and Christ on the ascendant. Okay, so how do we interpret this? So on the one hand, his personality, his mission, which is his ascendant and his sun, right, is very clearly marked by the ideas of Christ, right? The ideas of Christ. Whether he's a Christian or not is not relevant, and is not what I'm saying, is not what's important in this context. But because people can be inspired by Christ, people can be inspired by Christ consciousness, right, which is something universal, and everybody can participate in it, whether they are now in a practicing church or not, right? It's either way, it's possible, right? So now that's the one thing. He's inspired. He has this inspiration, right? The inspiration, which is, the drive or being driven by the universal love, and the universal love of humanity, and the universal love of the salvation of humanity, which is the idea of Christ, which is the essence of Christ. And and then he has his ideas that he draws on. They're plugged in, to Gottesman. But then at the same time, there is also a asteroid called Mason Coal here. You can't see it almost here, but it's here, right? Mason Coal, which stands for Freemasons and the global elites. And the global elites have a direct influence on his business as well. The global, the Freemasons are basically the secret societies, powerful secret societies that control things from behind the scenes. They have a direct influence on him. And obviously here, Antichrist is here, a Christo on Saturn. So he cannot he cannot get out of this predicament to have to face Antichrist. Okay, he has to face Antichrist. So this is a very interesting constellation, right? Angel Antichrist with Saturn opposite Gottesman and Jupiter, Neptune. The great faith in the divine action opposing and in a constant clash with the power structures of Antichrist. Right? And this is within himself. Both of this is within himself. It's not necessarily externalized. So part of himself is going to be, drawn to these power structures of Antichrist. And part of him is going to be drawn to the faith in the great divine idea and the Christian, and the Christ consciousness that fulfills him. So very, very interesting chart that we can see here in many ways, because it has this duality in him. So there is a duality that exists in Elon Musk, right? That struggle that, we say happens, the struggle really, and this is very important for all of us to realize actually, there are some people who have made up their mind and who are all the way on the side of darkness. And there are some people who have gone through many struggles and have eventually have made up their mind and who are all the way on the side of light. Those people exist, right? And if you want to reach a certain level of initiation, if you want to reach a certain level of mastery, spiritual mastery, you will have to make that decision, because the higher levels of spiritual initiation, the higher levels of spiritual realization and mastery, they're locked for those who don't make that decision, right? You cannot get there. You can only get there if you make a decision. You're on this side, you're on this side. You need to make that decision if you want to reach a high level of spiritual mastery. However, not everybody who is very important in the world wants to or has a very high level of spiritual mastery. So a lot of people who are the rulers and the richest people in the world and so on, they are very, they can be a great artist, can be a great entrepreneur, can be a great politician, whatever, but they're not necessarily the highest spiritual master. So for those people, for a lot of those people, they're still caught in between. They're in between, right? Both things are in them. Sometimes they're drawn to this side, sometimes they're drawn to that side. They haven't yet fully made up their mind, right? And a lot of people are like that. A lot of people, many people, even many great masters, before they reach that maturity to make the decision, to really make the decision and change their entire life around and decide for the Lord Jesus Christ, as you should, right? Or decide for the other side. But Elon Musk, he's somebody whose struggle that's going on within himself, right? His struggle between those forces, they are actually symptomatic and symbolic for the rest of humanity, and the rest of humanity sees that struggle happen in him. So in real time, we see him go back and forth. We see him sometimes go on this side and sometimes go on that side. And his chart shows that his soul has been in this struggle for generations, for several incarnations. And in this incarnation, this struggle is coming to the fore in him, right? So we're seeing him in real time being torn between this side and that side. Right, so now that we know this, there's one more thing that I want to share with you, which is on the immediate future or the next few years of Elon Musk, right? Because if Elon Musk, as I'm telling you, is somebody who for the rest of humanity is doing this struggle, is fighting this struggle between the forces of light and darkness within himself, right? And if he's somebody who really has so much power, so much responsibility, such a high influence on the further development of the world as he has, obviously it's important for us to see what he's going to do in the coming years and what the impact of those actions are going to be on the rest of us. All right, so I'm going to bring up his transits, which you can see right now on your screen. And when you look at this, we're going to see that his, right? So, I mean, you know, he has what's going on right now. He has, on the one hand, he's got the Saturn here transiting his 8th house, right? When Saturn comes to your 8th house, you're going to have problems with banks and with the money of other people, basically, right? And obviously, he has a lot of problems right now with advertisers. You know, they all came out of X. They don't, you know, they want to advertise. X is looking like it has a lot of financial troubles right now because of that. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on there on that front. And then what else we got? We've got here the Jupiter. You can see here Jupiter is just about starting to go on his Venus, and then later on it's going to go on the Sun as well. So what does that mean? It means that in the coming time, first of all, he's not going to have issues with the money, with the, you know, this kind of the advertisers and all of that. You know, I don't think that's going to be of any relevance. Why? Because he's got basically one of the best times for commercial success that you can have in your life is when you have a Jupiter Venus conjunction transit like this, right? Every 12 years, right? And he's going to be very, very good for deals, for, you know, financial deals. And then this is also, at the same time, is also trine his Mars. So yeah, he's going to make some very big deals and very, very successful deals in the coming time, especially in 24, right? And this is towards the beginning of 25, right? 24 and then the beginning of 25. And here in May 25, right? This is still perfected. And then after that, you know, with the Jupiter going on his Sun and Mercury and ascendant, he's going to really step out and, you know, I mean, he's already very present everywhere, right? He's very present. He's constantly, you know, he's everywhere. But he's going to be more present from 25. From August 25 onward, when Jupiter crosses the ascendant, he's going to be, you know, reaching the zenith of his, or he's going to be reaching, you know, actually a phase of extreme expansion, extreme visibility, right? So this is a kind of good time coming for him, right? But this is not really what I wanted to focus on so much, right? What's more important for us is that this constellation that you can see up here, right, which is the Saturn Neptune. This is very important historical constellation. You know, I talked about this in respect to world wars and confusions globally and so on, right? And then with the Uranus here, right, this constellation, this is hitting his Saturn Jupiter natal, right? So this Jupiter, remember what this was again? His faith in God, you know, which is opposing the structures of power in the world of Antichrist, right? And he's sometimes part of this and sometimes part of that. He's going back and forth between the two. That's going to go through a major upheaval and revolution, and that's going to benefit from a constant input of this very sincere and very serene kind of ability to download higher spiritual information, which is here Neptune, Saturn in sextile and trine to this, right? In trine to this and in sextile to this. So this is for 25, the year 25. In 25, and then going into 26, right? So this is very beautiful constellation, very beautiful, right? We had this battle that he has to go through, right? Which defines him in many ways. That's going to go through a major upheaval and revolution, and he's going to get a massive download of spiritual insights and illumination. So what I said to you before, that as long as, you know, you don't want to be a high spiritual master, there's certain levels of initiation, and there is a certain level of initiation that you cannot reach or you cannot go beyond unless you make that decision, right? And what I can see from the charts is that Elon Musk in the year 25, 26, he's going to get so much insights, so much spiritual information and downloads and realizations that he won't be able to stay on that level where he is like right now, which is a level of, he's already obviously spiritually, he's somewhat awake, right? He's somewhat awake. He's not completely uninitiated, right? But he's also not yet on the level of a spiritual master, right? Or of a kind of a real spiritual awakening and realization, which takes on and takes up the entire being, right? The entire being, including the different layers and levels, the soul and the spirit, right? So the brain, right? The cognitive apparatus, which is physical, as well as the soul, which is astral, as well as the spirit, which is akashic, right? It's just 3 levels. So he's not yet on that level to activate that entire flow. But my insight and prediction is that in the year 25, he's going to get so much downloads and information with these beautiful and unique transits that he has, that he will have to make that decision. And all of humanity, we can only hope that he makes the right decision. And if we can work towards that. We can do whatever we can do towards that in the ways that we can. That he and many others as well, who will have to make these decisions in the coming years, that they choose the right side, the side of the Lord Jesus Christ. So I let you and I leave you with this, and we're going to monitor and we're going to see what else happens in the world in the coming time with people like Elon Musk and others. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet, and like this video. And also tell me in the comments who you want to see next. We're going to look at everybody. I'm going to look at historical people, at people who are misunderstood, the great dictators and the great military leaders, as well as the great scientists, philosophers, spiritual leaders of past, present, and future if we can't do. But we're going to look at everybody. Tell me in the comments who you want to see next in terms of these types of analyses. And make sure, once again, make sure to share and, share this with your friends and like this, and let's grow this together. There's going to be a whole community here. We're going to be learning together. There's going to be lots of ways to get involved. For now, I appreciate you being here and being on this journey as well with me on Ultra Sapient. Ultra Sapient is a communal project, even though you don't know it yet, haven't shared much of it yet, but we will see, you will see, we will learn together, we will create together. This is a communal project, Ultra Sapient. Once again, I appreciate you being here. Take care, all the best, be blessed.